All right, one other thing that has to deal with the formation of the contract is this thing called time is of the essence. And really, this is probably in a bad spot because I put it in the formation section, and it really has nothing to do with the formation, which is why I want to talk about it. When someone writes time is of the essence, has nothing to do with the formation of the contract. What it literally has to do with is the execution of the contract. You know, and the asinine example that I like to give is when your buyer says, yes, I'll buy the property, and you're still waiting 5 years for him to straighten his credit out. That's what time is of the essence means. Every contract has to have time is of the essence. What that means is by the deadline that we both agreed on, and that's that deadline that we put. We will close by, in our particular case, it's February the 29th. We're closing on leap year this year because my client is actually leaving March the 1st and moving. So that's why we put the deadline. So this time is of the essence clause means that both parties will do what they're supposed to do by February the 29th or on it. After that time frame, one party or the other may not be subject to their side of the bargain. It has nothing really to do with the formation, not like you got 10 minutes to sign. That all has to do with the essence has something to do with the execution. Have you guys had an offer yet that you've had to move the closing date yet? All right. I don't know. Yeah. Yes, so say day, and that was the date you put on the contract. Our purchase agreement says time is of the essence. It's already built in there. And let's say that's, what is today? Let's say that's February the 1st. That's not what today is, but that's close enough. Oh, it is? Okay, well that's then definitely close enough. And your contract says February the 1st to close. If the mortgage company isn't ready and you guys want to move it over here till Tuesday, which is the 2nd, theoretically, you guys need to change your purchase agreement. Because what's happened is you are now outside of that time is of the essence parameter. So theoretically, the buyer or the seller could say, I'm out. So you have to change or amend. And what is an amendment? It changes words you've already talked about, as opposed to an addendum. We wouldn't use an addendum. An addendum adds new stuff we haven't talked about. The amendment changes the form. And what's the legal word for amendment? I'd be really impressed if you get this one. Novate. Right? When you novate a contract, it means we're going to change the contract. The novation of a contract merely replaces one with the other. There is no break in timeline. Okay? What I'm talking about is if Jennifer and I agree that we're going to change our client's date, and it says this, so I write a new amendment up, changing the date from the 1st to the 5th. I send it to you, and if you refuse to sign it and go, I'm not signing this one, I'm out of the deal. No, we're still under the original one. This one just replaces that one. So there's no break or gap in coverage between those. It just replaces it. And you need to do that so that you can change that time as of the essence date so that no one is outside of it and can get out of the deal. Unless, of course, you want out of the deal, and that's a whole separate story. You got that look again, Dave?
I'm just thinking about how screwed up short sales are.
Yeah, okay, the other part of this is banks don't follow any rules. Yeah, and you're right, it drives me crazy as being someone that tries to follow the rules since I teach it and know all that. Short sales, you know, they go past the deadline, they just do whatever they want to do. I think it comes from the fact is because they believe in their mind, which is probably true, 90% of the time, that you're going to want the offer and they can do whatever they want to do and they'll go back to you and say, do you still want it? It's like kissing a real pretty girl. She'll tell you now or later. If she says it later, you're still going to say yes. Do what?
Do you have to rewrite it?
You should. Or you should amend it. But then getting them to sign that amendment, you'll have to almost amend it to 20 days in the future. Right. So by the time they get to it, it's actually there.
You know, and the other side of that too is that on short sales, you actually sign to list with the homeowner, but everything's done through the bank.
Yeah, but
The goes to the bank does everything. I mean, the homeowner doesn't do anything.
they can. Technically, they do. Because, see, here's the problem. Some of the banks, if they go after and we're in a whole different topic here, dealing with short sales. If the bank decides they want to go after the deficiency, the owner can say no to the offer because the deficiency would be too great. Because what used to go on there for a long, long time is where the seller would tell somebody, like a buyer, I owe $100,000, come in and write a $30,000 offer. If the bank takes it, you get a really good house and I'm out of here. Well, when the bank started chasing the homeowner after that ghost income got killed, they started chasing them for that 70. Homeowners started killing really low short sale offers like that on purpose. You know, I'm not taking that 30 because I don't want a $70,000 deficiency. Even though I owe 100, I'll sell it to you for 90 or 95. You're still getting a deal, and now I've only got a 4 or 5. So a lot of banks, a lot of owners still have to okay it. But banks ultimately are the ones pulling the strings because they're going to go, well, yeah, well, we're not okaying a $30,000 offer even though you. All right? So, yeah, for the sake of this purpose of this course, banks don't count because, and there's no way. I think if enough of us stood up and said, yeah, we passed the deal, we're not buying it, you keep it. Eventually, I think the banks would catch on. But the fact is, they just are going to say, well, if I don't sign it today, you'll still want it tomorrow. You know, so they do whatever they want to do. So you've got to amend or novate that contract so that your time is of the essence still works out fine. Any questions about forming that contract? How many purchase agreements have you guys done so far? Filled out any? Thank God they're not buying. I don't know how to fill out the poor contract yet. Maybe we should make that. You know what I do? Maybe I should make that a video. Go through the purchase agreement and tell everybody, here's. The problem with that comes from this. I think there's sufficiently enough things in there that are dictated by the broker that I guess as a general I could give you an idea. But specifically, your broker should tell you certain things like, what does he want in the broker protection clause? Is it 60 days? Is it 90 days? Theoretically, it could be 1,000,000 days if that's what he wanted. For the listing, could be a broker protection clause. The commission, I mean, I generically could go, here's where you would put the commission. That number is, you guys are going to have to work that out with your client. We know what your number is. Always the same. So you'd have to work that out with them, but I guess generically you could know what that means and what each paragraph means. If I were you guys, one of the things I would do is take the purchase agreement and the listing agreement by paragraph and learn to explain each paragraph in about 10 words. Because what ends up happening is your client says, okay, what is this? And like I heard earlier, if you don't know what you're writing down, it becomes very hard to explain it to your client. One of the things I did is, you know, like I said, is just learn what this paragraph, what's this paragraph? Well, this paragraph says this is what you're going to pay me 7%. And if you don't pay me, it's going to become a lien on the property. But that's not going to happen because you're going to pay me, right? Okay. What's this paragraph? This paragraph says that you have the right to have an inspection. This one says we're not going to have one. This one says we are going to have one. What are we going to do? Yeah, we're going to have one. Then we have to mark this one. All right? So that you can go through each paragraph and explain it to your client. I would do that. I was at a closing once with this girl who was a single mother buying by herself, and she started reading the mortgage. And she said, my dad told me I should read everything. I'm like, I commend your father 100%. You should have told me 3 days ago and I'd have got this to you. So let's go through this. And we went through each paragraph, and I kind of went through, this paragraph says this paragraph says this paragraph says this. And the title company guy said, I can do it even better than that. He said, there's nothing in here that's going to save your ass if you don't make your payment. And there's nothing in here that's going to hurt you if you do make your payment. What he said. It's pretty much the easy way. Nothing's going to save you if you don't make your payment. But there ain't anything that's going to hurt you if you do. What about, have you guys, we talked about valid. You guys remember all those things? Valid, void, voidable. A valid contract means all 5 parts are there. I hope all the contracts you ever deal with are valid in your life. Then you get into this one called void. And what does void mean? Technically, it is a misnomer. I heard that. Very good. Never actually is a contract because it was void from the beginning, meaning it's missing one of the parts altogether. If you fail to distinguish the price, that's a big one. I'll buy your house. Okay, good deal. Let's go. We didn't talk about compensation in there. That is typically the number one thing that gets screwed up. All right? Didn't talk about. Contrast that with voidable. Voidable's a contract that looks valid, but upon further examination, one of them is bad. A voidable contract you can get reaffirmed. A good example would be somebody that's underage. They're not old enough. Looks like it's valid. They turn out to be not old enough, so therefore can legally be undone. But you could go back to that side of the party and go, hey, we need to reaffirm on this contract. Give me somebody that's 18 to sign it. So you can kind of fix it, so to speak. Or it can be undone. Or the person was crazy. I had a friend of my mom's husband. You guys got that? Follow that trail? You guys know where Mount Comfort is and all that land in Mount Comfort? If you get off at Mount Comfort, little interesting fact, you go to Mount Comfort and you turn right, there's that gas station right there on the corner, that Shell. Everybody know which one I happen to be talking about? No? Have you know the name of that road that's right there it's on? That's, it would, if you going east and you go up the bridge and turn right, so it'd be south side of the bridge, there's a Shell gas station and the road that goes into the RV lot. By the McDonald's. You know the name of that road? Anybody?
I know I've seen the sign and I just can't.
J.L. Modulin Parkway. It's named after my uncle. Yeah, it's my. Yeah, it's my uncle's road. Yeah, he was killed in Vietnam, and they named that road after him. Yeah. The next road is 100 South, or is 100 North. That corner, farmland, was owned by my mom's friend's husband's mother. Got it?
And the bank's still on the opposite corner of that.
Oh, no, not that way. That's north. There's nothing. There's nothing. It was a restaurant. It became Bonnie and Clyde's and all that. You're on the wrong side. Other side, Dave. When you go out 70 and there's Mount Comfort, here's the bank that you're talking about. I'm talking down here on this road. There's the McDonald's right here. There's my uncle's road is right there. All of this land right there. So it's away from the airport, the opposite direction. She sold 80 acres for $10,000 total to an investor because she was crazy. He convinced her that's what it was worth. And then when my mom's dad's friend's husband tried to get it undone because of the fact that she was insane. She had already passed away. And the judge said to get her declared incompetent posthumously would have involved a bunch of decisions that we had to prove that she made that a logical person wouldn't have made, and then we could have maybe got her adjudicated insane. Well, that was one of them, yes, but that's only one decision. But the big thing was they would have had to have her legally declared insane, and Dave did not want to do that to his mother, so he let that whole thing go. Yeah. And now that land is probably worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, or will be in the near future again. All right?
So you can use this. We actually got a purchase agreement or an offer at Remax that had the address of the property, had the price filled in, did not have a signature or the name of the buyer anywhere on the agreement.
So you had the price and they ID'd the property though, right?
Yes.
But no buyers.
Yes.
That's for whoever comes through the next time. That would be a little weird. I have seen many weird things. I've seen, like you said, with purchase agreements, I don't think I've seen a lot of weird stuff. One of the things I do like is the negotiation of, like I said, coming up with a, hey, we'll raise the price, do that, to try and solve a problem. There's nothing more fun, or is the word funner? I think it's more fun. Nothing more fun. You're the English teacher. There's nothing more fun than having your client go, hey, thanks for all your help, or you did a good job, to realize that, you know, like the duck, the old analogy of the duck, you know, Brent said, hey, can we solve this? And I call him back 2 days later, yeah, I think we got it solved. He didn't see the, 37 phone calls back and forth between the other client and I, or the other agent and I. Can we do this? Let's get a quote. Get a guy out there, write the quote down. Are they 25-year or 30-year shingles? Are they asphalt shingles? Let's do all this. And then Brent goes, oh, yeah, good job. Like, dude, I've already spent 100 hours on this deal, and I got a good job. That's the fun part. Yeah. And then they get mad when they pay you. I paid you that? To put a sign in my yard? That's all you did? Good job. Yeah. Yeah, I love that. You walked away with a $80,000 profit. I made $3,000, and you think I should be buying you drinks. Yeah. So voidable means it looks valid but can be reaffirmed. And then the last one would be what we call unenforceable. In our world, we're not going to run into any unenforceable contracts because we have to have them written. Usually your unenforceable come in the oral world where someone says, hey, you said this, I didn't say this, or you promised this and you didn't fulfill. Do you have it in writing? Well, no, because then it would be enforceable. So it's unenforceable. We're really not going to have that much of an issue with dealing with unenforceable contracts. Consideration. In our world, I mean, we've beat this one to death, and can't be that hard. It's money. It's got to be money. Matter of fact, it's so definitely has to be money that in the deed, have you guys read a deed yet? Probably should find yourself a deed and read one of those, the generic $10 and other good and valuable services. They actually write that in the deed so that even if you give a house away, technically there's an associated $10 value so that we can fill in this consideration portion. Because we can give a house away, theoretically. The $10 and other good and valuable services that you transfer when you transfer the deed is the consideration. Now, most of the time we have a purchase price associated with that, and that's about all of the things that we can do. Have you heard the term arm's length transaction? We do real estate. Nice to meet you. We do real estate at what they call an arm's length transaction, meaning I don't know who that person is. So therefore, love and cherish doesn't count. Unlike the wedding vows, which, believe it or not, are a contract. The consideration in your wedding vows is love, honor, and cherish. that has a value to a person that, I don't know, has that value to. Since I don't know that other person on the other side of the table, which is what we define as an arm's length transaction, there's no value. So the value comes in the form of money. Money is our considering factor. Talked about legal capacity. We already know that. Mental capacity. You cannot also force someone into the deal. Obligation of the party. This is what we were talking about a minute ago. If I lie to you to get you into a deal, that is not in effect actually a contract. That's a voidable contract. What was the old days where they take them in the back room and tie them up and then break their knees until they sign the deal? You can't do that and get caught. All right? You can't do that. You can't force someone into a contract. Similarly, and I know what you guys think, you can't lie to get someone into a contract. Even if you think, this is for all the Catholics in here, even if you don't think you're lying, it's still a lie. All right? So if you say the roof is in good condition, or the gutter and band boards are in good condition, and you find out they're not, you were misled to get into that contract, at least at that price. Right? There would have been a price, and let me ask you, and maybe you can't answer, there would have been a price that those being bad would have been acceptable.
Yeah, if I could have justified fixing it myself because I paid the right price for that.
Okay. Would you have, did they disclose those were bad to you prior to putting the offer in?
No.
They did not. If they would have disclosed that to you prior to putting the offer in, would you have altered your original offer?
Yes.
Yes. That's exactly what the sales disclosure form is for. That's exactly what that sales disclosure form is for. That's why it's part of our purchase agreement. It's supposed to be before you make an offer. That's why it's there. So that if somebody sent David house and he wants to look at it, and in the disclosure it says bandboard is rotted, backsplash and gutters are all rotted, instead of making his $100,000 offer, he'd have taken that into consideration and said, I'll take it like that at 80. And then that's when they'd come in and go, yeah, 95. And that's what we had kind of done with our roof. We disclosed the roof was bad, listed at 119, knew we were probably going to be in the 114, 115 range, which is what we got. Then the rock came of them, and they want the roof. No. You're not getting closing costs and the roof, and we discounted the price. That's why we said no to the roof. That's where the sales disclosure form comes in, because you're supposed to know that so that you can be honest with your client up front, and they know going in there's a hole in the roof and the mold in the basement. Well, that makes this offer then. Well, that's a very good question, because we also do the inspection wrong. You're supposed to have the inspection done prior to making an offer. That way you would then make that offer. That's why we renegotiate. But yes, you could argue the fact. I told you the basement was bad. Now, I guess the question the other side could argue is, how bad is it? Is it $1,000 bad or is it $5,000 bad? I don't know how bad it is until we have the inspection. But theoretically, we are supposed to have the inspection done before. Now, I understand you guys are all going to say, yeah, but that's a $300, $400. But it's an insurance policy, so it would never run into that situation where you just explained. Because what would happen is I'd have found that hole in the roof and the mold in the basement long before I made that $100,000 offer. So either A, I would not have made an offer at all and been out to $200, $300 for the inspection, or B is it would have been an $80,000 offer from the get-go, and you would have said, $80,000, we got it listed at $100. Yeah, but here's the inspection report showing that I'm going to spend this and this and this and this. And like Dave said, I'll fix all of that if I get the house at the right price, but I'm not going to pay for the house and pay for the fixture. And I think the answer to that is exactly what we just said. That's why now we want us to give the buyer the chance to, so it forces so someone can't go, I want out automatically. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I disagree with it. And usually I'm right.